77 degrees. He's outside. It's Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941. They've been owned and operated by the Frederick family for 40-plus years. Book your next reservation, chaletbowl.com. You want local fun. So last time we talked, it was cold. Now it's 77 degrees. Back home where you're from in Havre, Montana, it's like negative 25.
Yeah, it was the low today was negative 25 with a wind chill of minus 50. So the step kids had the late start at 10 a.m. because, when it's minus 50 wind chill at like 6 or 7 a.m. when they got to go to school, it's only minus 25 wind chill when they have to go to school at 10 a.m. So they had late start.
It's amazing what we will cancel out here, but yet in Montana, they're like, no, there's no school cancellation. We're all going.
It's pretty interesting how they do shit around there.
How is it? What's it like? You've been there for a week. What's the buzz? Championship caliber team. What do we got? Give us the latest.
Well, I was gonna try and set up outside by the where Chuck and Bucky are at and mock them, and then I wanted you to get the clacking of the cleats in the background.
I love that. I love that. God, I love that.
But I mean, and somebody pointed out, they like better now the sound of when I'm in the bullpen taking video. And
I do love that too.
Just the sound of 90 miles an hour hitting Cal Raleigh's glove. So
I have been watching a lot of your videos over and over again, and I find the live BP ones just as satisfying.
Yeah, it's all good. Like the BP in the cage, like that. I mean, I only got a part of it, but I need it. And I used to have a little tripod I would set up. If you get just when it's Randy and Julio and Robles in the cage, and I don't understand one thing they're saying. My Spanish, just despite 5 years of it, is pretty rudimentary, and it's not quite like Felix, who mumbled and talked like he had marbles in his mouth all the time, but it's
so
and then I remember Betancourt, Cuban version of Spanish, is kind of like Cajun, people talking Cajun or Creole. So, but no, it's really entertaining. So it's been good. I was to be perfectly honest, and I think I mentioned it, last year was towards the end, the last, 3 months of the season, it was pretty miserable going to the park on a daily basis, just because of the tension around the team and the front office and just all the stuff, and then it wasn't just me, because I could be miserable at a food festival where there's bikini chefs. I could still find a way to be miserable, but you're talking to younger people that are out there, and even Kramer, who hasn't been doing this forever, and they're just this isn't an enjoyable place to be anymore.
There was a bad vibe around. Was a bad, not only just around the players and the team, but you're right, a bad vibe around the organization. They're laying people off left and right. People weren't happy behind the scenes.
Everybody. It was I wouldn't say it's a fear factor, but there's just a tension, and so.
Was that a spaceship that just landed nearby?
It's a garbage truck. So
taking out the garbage, huh? Taking out the.
But you get here, and it is kind of the cliche, but it's a new year, new season.
Sure.
It's warm, and that's the one thing I've said this before, but these guys are all some of the nicest guys I've ever covered. Yeah. The players themselves are very likable. So when you hear people say, I'm never going to go to another game again, or I'm boycotting them. One, you're lying, because if they're even good and you're 500, you'll go, because, and then two, you're punishing the players in a sense, and you're really not rewarding John Stanton or the ownership by going, because they're going to do this regardless of whether you go or not.
Jesus. What was that? Was that another garbage truck? Did that crash?
I don't know. With the way aircrafts have been, it's probably a plane crash.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to get on a plane.
Oh, I know.
And I know you don't like flying, but I'm out. I think I'm out for a while.
I'm not afraid of crashing. I mean, if you're going to crash, you're probably dying, so it's just whatever.
Yeah, but you just don't like flying in general.
No, it's because I don't like the people that I have to encounter on the plane.
Okay. Well said.
when I'm on the plane and I'm looking around, or I'm in the terminal, I'm looking around going, I see somebody looking like Bucky and going, of course he's going to have middle seat right next to you. Yeah, he's going to smell like BO and garlic, that's what I don't want. So
I'm with you. I hate that. I do dislike people on the planes.
Yeah, I just like the whole airport culture. And then I think probably because my home base airport is SeaTac, which is, it's
the worst airport in the land.
I mean, like it's like, I understand why O'Hare and Hartsfield-Jackson are considered and LAX are considered 3 of the worst, because they're like the 3 busiest. Like SeaTac is managed to be busy, managed to be a total clusterfuck, and then like make it inconvenient, and it's perpetually under construction.
Always under construction.
It's like the Tacoma Dome Road. The I-5 by the Tacoma Dome.
Yeah.
Like that was under construction when I moved out to the Northwest in 2006, and I think it finally got finished like 2 years ago, and now they're already talking about it's not sustainable. They need to do more.
And the worst TSA lines you've ever been in your life.
Oh yeah,
just
because there's not enough staffing, and they're
always like, oh no, go down to whatever. No, don't go here. Don't go here. The lines are much faster down here, and you go down there, and like, no, they're not. They're not even remotely fast. Yeah.
I honestly think that people who have not had, it's like Hall of Fame voting. People who have not had pre-check for 10 consecutive years should lose it. There's too many people that have pre-check now. And so then I got clear last year, and that's pretty good. But even then, it's like, no, I need to wait from people.
Okay, how did we got sidetracked spring training, the team to flying. The essence of it just was a bad vibe around the team last year. And you're right. I mean, but spring training does this for everyone.
Yeah,
it's just because it's new. It's the season's changing. It's warmer. It's all that. You're in a better mood when you're in a warmer place. And
a little vitamin D helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just the videos that you do. I just get it. I love them all. I love the guys throwing in the bullpen, but the ones I love is the live BPs, like the one that you posted yesterday. You got JP's in there, I think, facing Logan Gilbert against Cal Raleigh. I love that stuff. I love the fact that they do that. I'm sure most teams do that, but I think that's just such invaluable for both the hitter and pitcher to do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you should probably do it for your little league team, but
we did it last night actually.
I was disappointed because that Fujinami guy, he throws like 100 and has usually no idea where it's going, but he threw an inordinate amount of strikes. So I was disappointed he didn't hit anybody. I was kind of waiting for that. Apparently, I didn't. I asked him. I didn't see it, but I was told Haniger got smoked in the ribs the other day by this guy named Hayden Danner. It was like 94 to the rib cage. And I was like, good Lord.
And he's not hurt yet? I love Haniger, but that should knock him out for 2 months.
No, he's looking pretty good. I mean, honestly, I was watching him swing. He looks pretty good. I mean, he always looks good in spring because he's had a year to recover. But, so anyways, it's been cool. Like, yesterday was the first full squad day, which is always kind of a longer day because then they have the live BPs and everything. And then they also had media availability over in Scottsdale. So all the GMs and all the managers from the Cactus League were there. Manfred was there. They did a presentation on the automatic ball strike system. I just stayed for Jerry, who went pretty good for an hour talking, and then talked to a few other guys just for some stuff I'm doing. But nothing real big from Jerry. Like, as far as it looks like, and he could be blowing smoke, but I'm expecting Haniger to be on the roster opening day. I mean, one, because you're paying him that much money, you're not just going to dump him, see if he can maximize any value.
In what role?
Probably DH. Like Jerry just said, he goes, I just don't see there's a lot of innings for him in the outfield. I'm like, of course, why would you? You have the 3 guys projected, then you have Raleigh. Like Haniger's a DH. You don't need to play him at first base. You don't just play him at DH.
But you and I will go. I've asked you this a million times. I just don't understand why they don't put a first baseman glove in his hand.
I mean, yeah, maybe they could
try it.
But I mean, like, they went and got Solano. They have Raleigh. They have Locklear. I mean, at that point, like,
if Haniger's healthy, he's a better player than Donovan Solano.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you just DH him then. I think DH is like the perfect position for him.
Yeah, but, I agree. I just think for a guy like that, if you are an organization that likes versatility.
Yeah.
I just don't see why what harm does it? I guess my question would be this to them: what harm does it do to at least try him there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could do it. To me, it's like, just put him at DH. He's that age. I mean, again, like if you're DHing Garver more than once or twice a week, that means both your catchers are in the lineup. And that, do you
Right.
carry another catcher? I mean, that's a risk you don't necessarily need to take.
Right.
And then, you have some other guys, Solano, I guess, but he can play first. He can actually stand at third. I mean, like, I think that's what they're going to do, like put your three defensive guys out there and be good with that.
That's the title of the show today. He can stand at third.
Yeah. He can stand over there, I mean, then again, like, would he be worse than Luis Urias at third base?
I mean, probably not, but this highlights the issue that they just don't have a third baseman.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Rafael Devers might be available here eventually.
How about that? I love it. You know what? I do. I love the honesty. He's like, F it, man. It's my job. Like, I'm a Gold Glove. Like, what the hell?
If I'm Alex Cora, I'm coming out and say, you know what? You're slowly eating your way out of that job. I mean, like, that guy. Like, not everybody can be Jose Ramirez and pound Patron and do no working out and be successful. Like, Devers is, one, he's horrible defensively because he doesn't work at it, and he's in terrible shape.
He's won. Hasn't he won a couple Gold Gloves, or am I mistaken?
Maybe if he won them early, but he's been really bad the last few years because you look at him. I mean, he's built like, you in a lot of ways. He's not in shape unless you count pear as a shape. And so, I do, what I love about him? He puts in the Raul Mondesi hammer dips when he plays.
Yeah. By the way.
Straight hammer dips.
Okay. Now you got me sidetracked on that. How about the picture you had in the paper of Castillo's hammer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He put the whole bag in.
I mean, like, when
God almighty.
And when you're a guy that used to chew and quit and you look at that and you just know that sensation and feeling, you're like, damn, I miss that so bad.
Dude, Castillo looked like he had a softball in there the other day when I'm looking in the paper. It was unbelievable.
It relaxes him, so.
Okay, so back to Fat Devers. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen?
I think they'll just keep him and play him. I think he's going to be motivated, and, they'll play him at third. They'll play Bregman at second and Casas at first, and they'll be fine. And then they'll make a decision in the offseason or at midseason. Like, if it's not working at midseason, they'll make a decision. But, I think part of it is being public about it is they're hoping it motivates him a little bit. Like, hey,
for sure.
I mean, I can't wait to watch that Red Sox series, though. Ooh, on Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming out in full swing's coming out. Like, just take my pants off.
I missed the Red Sox. When is the Red Sox? Wait, I missed that. What, the Red Sox are doing one?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
The
is people this last year?
Yeah, the people from Full Swing sat in on the Red Sox for the entire year.
No.
And the Red Sox had no editorial control whatsoever. So, like, that's
a bad idea.
Netflix approached the Mariners about this, and the Mariners like, wait, no, we have no overseeing. Because, like, Hard Knocks, you get they approve a lot of what goes out and stuff.
Yeah.
No. Apparently on this Netflix one, the Red Sox don't even see it.
Oh my God.
So God knows what's going to be on this thing. So, like, apparently, like, that's coming out in like a week. Full Swing's like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Like, just remove my pants, give me some popcorn and Crown Royal, and then let's go.
And there's another one. I knew the Full Swing was coming out, and that one, the Full Swing gives us the Scotty Scheffler, right?
Yeah.
Or is that, yeah.
So then the Brooks Koepka, the 1 year when he was just like, my wife's over here trying dresses on, asking me what I'm thinking, and all I'm learning is why I can't make a 10-foot putt.
Yeah. So I can't wait for the Koepka getting arrested. Oh, and I'm going to give you another one on HBO. I think it just came out 2 days ago, of the Dream Team when the college kids beat them in the exhibition.
Yeah.
That was never. I don't think never had video of it. Yeah. But they had the practice video. I think that they show that, like Jamal Mashburn and those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that'll be cool. Like, I don't know, that'll be interesting to see. But the Mariners, they were not having that. Like that.
No. So now did I not? Yeah, you're right about Devers. Why did I think Devers won a Gold Glove?
I don't know. So he's like, he's
an idiot.
So no, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that's one thing is, like, do you all of a sudden, like, if they decide, like, if they just say by 2 weeks into this, like, nope, Devers, you're going to first base, we'll move Casas or whatever. If you're the Mariners, do you revisit it and say, hey, look, we'll give you a Logan Evans or Emerson Hancock. You want some depth in your pitching staff? Maybe another prospect for Casas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I wrote the projected roster before we got here, and like my guess is there'll be aspects of it that change over the next couple of weeks. I mean, obviously relievers and stuff, because like right now the only competition is like maybe second base, like how they're going to do that and fill out those last couple.
Not many decisions.
No, I mean, like if Gabe Spira's throwing 96 like he was the other day, then
look good. That's good. It's a good sign.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like they are pretty well set. That'll change with injuries, but I mean, there'll be other pieces that can flop around. I am curious to see how they handle DH. I doubt we'll see Haniger in the outfield very much, and I think he knows that as well. I think he's comfortable with that. But no, since been here, talked with a lot of guys. I mean,
who's their fourth outfielder right now? Raleigh,
and then Demo can go out there. And
yeah.
This Miles Mastrobuoni guy, say that quickly.
No, I don't want to.
Blake Hunt and Miles Mastrobuoni.
You got to slow down. Down.
Curto's new replacement in Tacoma might have to go a little slower there.
Yeah, that'll be a tough one.
I think they upgraded. I mean, Tacoma, but
over Curto? Oh,
yeah.
I mean, there's in multiple ways. Yes.
He takes it personally when all of us media guys will make comments about that.
As he should. Do you have an early candidate for best in shape in camp? We've established it's not Devers for the Red Sox, but what for the Mariners?
I mean, like Cal looks skinnier in his face a little bit, but from the waist down, it's still he didn't lose the dumper. No, I mean, like that's the thing is like most of these guys, they're not. They're not like old school where they went home and just got fattened up on booze and the wife's cooking. Yeah, like they're not. I'm trying to like. I remember one year like Rick Griffin at the pre-spring training luncheon, like said that Richie Sexton had spent the offseason working out, and like he was going to arrive in probably the best shape of his career. And then I saw Richie without his shirt on. I go, what the hell is that? Like, he doesn't look like he worked out at all. He looks like my dad, like,
hey,
I don't know. Baseball players in shape is different, but like with this group, like you look at their outfielders, Julio looks like a wide receiver. Randy looks like a slot back, and Robles looks like a defensive back. I mean, like those guys are cut and they spend some time. And I mean, like
it's a good athletic group out there.
Yeah, I mean JP, new dad vibe looks good. I mean, and Dylan Moore, who he'll be on a Men's Health magazine after he retires. I mean, like those guys, they arrive in shape, and same with the pitchers and stuff like that.
So do you? I want to go back to the Red Sox just for a quick second. Not about Fat Devers, but do you think it? You kind of hinted at it. Does it re-engage talks? Do you think at all with them?
No, probably not unless the Red Sox engage with them. They might just check in and say, hey, what are you going to do here? But I don't think the Red Sox completely know what they're going to do here. I think they're going to – I mean, like, you got 6 weeks to kind of figure it out. Really, you have a month into the season, too. I mean, like, they can make a trade later. They don't have to do it right now. But at the same time, like, if you have – you don't want to rot somebody on your bench that, like, could help you or could get you something else. So it's kind of a weird scenario that they've got.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have. But, yeah, I don't know what I would do in that situation if I was the Red Sox, because like you're also, trusting Devers. Like, what happens if he just shuts it down mentally and it just becomes a zero?
Could. You owe him all this money and you're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
If he doesn't accept his role, and I mean, Bregman came out and he gave the great answer. I'll play anywhere, whatever. I don't care. I mean, he knows that he's going to play there, but he had to say that.
Well, and I think Bregman, all he cares about is hitting. I mean, he's a good defensive player, but I think he wants to hit and everything else. And so, like, I don't think he's going to freak out about that by any means. I think he's just going to go play and hit a bunch of balls off the wall. And like that guy knows who he is as a hitter. Like, he had the Crawford boxes. He was looking at the Cubs and Wrigley or Red Sox in Fenway. Like, he ain't stupid.
Hey, going back to Cal for a second. Why has there not been more talks about a contract with him? Why is it so quiet on that front, especially after he switched agents?
I don't know. I asked him about it, and Kyle just says like, I'm open to listen. Just come with a real offer. I mean, I don't know. Like on some level, the pessimist, and you talk to some guys around baseball, is like, oh, they're just going to mule him and run him into the ground over the next few years, and then say, and then trade him when he doesn't want to resign. And others are thinking, well, they're not in a position financially to make that investment. And then the people like you who wear the armadillo helmets will say the reason they haven't done this is because they already have Julio, and this ownership group eventually wants to sell within the next 3 years, and that's why they haven't made another major investment.
What the I don't get. I'm dumb. I don't get the armadillo reference.
So it's like, I don't remember. I think it was on the Dukes of Hazzard remake. This guy wore an armadillo helmet. I made out of a shell because he thought the FBI was stealing his brainwaves. So it's like the tinfoil hat.
Okay. You think my suggestion that they could contemplate selling the team is like
well, I mean, like given
I'm
what,
just wondering
given,
they don't spend any. I'm just saying that the signs of a team that wants to sell, they are showing signs of it.
a little bit, yeah. I mean, but given what the going rate for a franchise is and what you would make, every team should consider selling it.
100%.
I mean,
they'd be fools not to.
But no, I don't think so. I think because they're not operating. I mean, like the only structural issue that is problem I think for the ownership group is the RSN situation, and that'll get figured out in the next few years, and I can talk about that too. But like, sure. They that'll get figured out in the next few years or so. Some stability will come to it. But yeah, I mean, like you look at the lease with the city, the upkeep of T-Mobile, like no park has aged better than T-Mobile. Maybe Coors, they're about the same. They've aged well. It's not like the Diamondbacks who are looking to redo their whole stadium here. You look at they invested money back in the day in the Dominican Summer League in their academy in the Dominican. That's like state of the art. Like they just, were able to, they're just unable to, like do some renovations down here at the spring training complex for very minimal money. Like they didn't go like the expensive route but they put in a lot of new stuff. So it looks not like a junior college back there. Like they've done a lot of stuff to make this more attractive for players and to make it more sustainable for success. So it's like, well, and then you're making money even without investing. Like they don't have to reinvest their money back into like reinvest outside money or their own money back into the organization because it makes enough money to sustain itself. Right. And I think like, so when you're operating on that level, you're like, okay, well, why would we sell if we're always going to be sustainable? And, and you say what you want about Jerry and the 54% mindset, but what Scott Hunter has done in the draft and what they've done from a developmental aspect, they're always, like I don't think we'll see the year where they lose 100 games again for quite a while because like they put enough pieces together, like it's self-sustaining in a lot of ways. You watch these prospects that are coming up, and you watch, like I'm watching, Logan Evans throw, and it's 97, and he throws 7 different pitches, and you're like, well, he'll just bump right in. You watch Laz Montez and Colt Emerson and all these guys work around there, and they look like grown-ass men at 18 years, 19 years old. You're like, okay, like there are pieces coming. This isn't like when, in 07 where they hitched their wagon to Uni Betancourt and Jose Lopez and didn't have anybody in the minors to challenge them. No, like they have real guys. Like Colt Emerson will replace J.P. Crawford in 2 years, is my guess. Yeah. J.P. Crawford's contract will be up and Colt will take over and the Mariners will be happy. I mean, Cole Young, who looks like a kid out of Super Troopers right now with his mustache, will be the starting second baseman next year. I have no doubt in my mind, unless they trade him. Those two guys will be, in their lineup next year or in their lineup at some point next year. Colt probably won't debut till later in the year, but, Cole Young is fully expected to be the starting second baseman by next season, and he could be by the end of this season if he plays well in spring training.
Okay, you brought up the TV stuff, the RSN, the streaming stuff. I talked about this last week that I'm pretty confident that they're going to have a streaming aspect, to this season, whether it's ready for opening day or not. What are you hearing? I know Kevin Martinez was on with Softy. I think he hinted at the same thing. What are you hearing on the streaming front? What are you hearing on the just the future of what their broadcasting is going to be for this season and then beyond?
So they are trying to get what they call direct to fan streaming or direct streaming without a third party, like Root going through Root. I think even if they were to get a streaming product this year, it's still got the Root label on it. You see the Root thing. It might even be an app that you have to go through Root, but you would pay a fee. The problem is the distribution contracts with Comcast, Spectrum, Fubo. Those all have riders in those contracts that the Mariners cannot do direct to fan streaming. They have to go through them in some way. They have to be available to them. So that's what they're trying to work through. So they're negotiating with these cable distributors about, hey, look, we want to do this, and you're putting us on these higher tier anyway, so we should be able to do this. We want to renegotiate the contracts. We want to figure out a way to do this. And that's what Martinez has been working on. It's been, from everything I've heard, it's been a focus for them going in, even starting last year, is how do they get direct to consumer or direct to fan streaming without having to go through an Xfinity app or the Fubo app or whatever. And those contracts are the sticking point. And when those contracts are up and all that other stuff is going to be an issue. I think the Mariners also know, though, that like with their fan base and given the age of it, because Mabel and Yakima loves the Mariners, they are willing to pay the cable fees just to have the Mariners. And so, like, you have to assess that too. They can't go to full platform streaming, they have to find a way. So until they can reach agreements with these cable rights or these cable pack companies, these distribution contracts, I don't think you're going to see that. But moving towards MLB for the production side, which while probably might cheapen it a little bit and has cost some people some jobs, that is another step towards making that possibility. The reason like the teams like the Cardinals and Twins and stuff is they don't have RSN contracts per se, and then when Diamond Sports had to rework all their contracts and stuff like that with these teams, they were able to negotiate a straight to rights deal. Whether like, even if I think the Mariners could work out a deal where they went through Amazon as a third party, they would do it. They can't do it right now and stand alone because of Comcast, because of Spectrum. I don't know what else.
What do you have an idea? But the idea behind this would be for people that do not have cable, do not have Fubo or YouTube TV. They would simply just purchase a streaming app through that would be provided by Root so they could watch the games. Is there any talk or number being floated out how much it would cost?
No, but my guess would be 150 or something. I think the Twins is 100.
I think most of those like the Guardians, Twins, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, about $99, $100.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Even if they were like, say they were able to negotiate a fee where you kick back money to Comcast and these other rights distributors, then or like you can get one of them to say, if they can get Comcast to just put Root on their what is it, the X Anywhere app, sure, so that they could get that. If they could find that fee, then they would do that. I mean, like, would Comcast accept a fee where you just pay to go through their app where they still have their commercials loading but you just pay the rights fee for Root? I don't know if they do that. That's what they're running into. And that's the biggest thing is, like, you have these other people that are still trying to make money off the Mariners broadcast, and they don't, the previous contracts have all been negotiated that any broadcast of Mariners has to have some kickback rights to them, and that's the holding point.
The Mitch Garver, what is Mitch Garver? It's a weird transition going from TV to Mitch Garver, but yeah, I wanted to come back to Mitch Garver because you had mentioned him. He'd been honest at the end of last season, just about the struggles he went through, physically, but more mentally. What does he look like so far in camp?
I think he's in a pretty good space. I mean, he's, like last year, he was very open and gregarious and talkative early. And then when he struggled, he's kind of quiet. We didn't see him as much. He's been kind of that same guy this year, fresh start, fresh outlook. I think also just kind of like the idea that, like, hey, I'm not the guy that has to come in and help this offense and fix everything and be this middle of the order presence. Just come in and play and perform, and we'll figure out how you're going to use you. I think is pretty good for him. Like right now he's the backup catcher, and Dan Wilson has mentioned that they'll they'll use two catchers. They'll DH Cal some, and they may DH Mitch some. And like DePoto said the same thing. It's basically whoever is producing, whoever they think is producing at the time is going to get that DH spot when Cal is catching. So whether it's Mitch Carver, Mitch Haniger, or if they want to put Solano and Raleigh in the lineup at the same time, they're going to do it. Like to me, if the one thing I'm looking at this, Raleigh needs plate appearances. And they need to find ways to get him on the field because he's one of their better power hitters and he can do damage. So they got to find ways to do it. And whether that's at times getting him in right field or left field, doing that, just he shouldn't sit for many days. Because even if it's like a lefty that isn't overpowering, Luke's numbers against lefties aren't pretty, but they're more effective than a lot of other guys. And like even DePoto said that it isn't going to be just a straight platoon. There'll be days when Luke's in there at first base against lefties. One thing is too, though, I know Luke doesn't believe first base is his best position. He's much more comfortable in the outfield.
Okay.
But he's getting better there, So I think that's kind of the weird thing that they're at is how do they do DH, how do they do second base, and how that affects everything.
He's athletic enough though, Div, that he's got a good chance to be, a pretty good first baseman.
Oh yeah, and him and Perry Hill spent quite a bit of time together, and so.
How's Perry's gut looking?
It's special. Yeah, Perry was, and I got a story on Perry doing yoga this offseason because.
Oh, I got it. Wait, is that you wrote a story on it?
I haven't yet, but he told Tyler Locklear that he needed to do yoga in the offseason because Locklear's big, fullback linebacker looking guy who's too stiff,
more flexible.
So you want to be more flexible, and so, but he said, I'll do it if you do it, and we'll report back, because Perry said, I would never make my guys do a conditioning that I won't do myself. And so him and Locklear both did yoga once or twice a week and reported. And so, Locklear is telling me how much better he feels. But I'm just trying to envision Perry, in a room of 40 women. He didn't do the Bikram hot yoga. I think that's, but he's a character, and he has
you see him in Downward Dog and
oh man,
he has this pose.
He has this great line, how he yells and stuff, stop and stuff. But when he's working with the young kids, he was yelling at Arroyo and Colt Emerson, see what happens when you actually listen. And I was like, I feel like you can use that for your team. See what happens when when you're talking to your son and he doesn't lift his back foot up on a swing and pimp a homer or whatever. See what happens when you listen. That's
what this idiot did yesterday. Just idiot. We brought in an older kid who was with us last year, but he can't play Little League. So we brought him in because he throws really hard.
Yeah.
And so he's a really good pitcher. I said, I want you to pitch to them tonight, just so they can see it, and because he's not and pitch from 46.
Yeah.
You're pitching from 50 now, but it's going to come in faster. They'll never see anyone as hard as you this year. So we're just doing BP. So he's striking everybody out for the most part. I think one kid got a hit. So my kid comes up, gets him on 2 strikes. What does he do? Because they're like best friends. He wants bragging rights. He drops down a bunt.
Of course he does.
And I'm like, he's like, it's a hit. It's broke up his no-hitter. I said, do you realize, you putz, if you did that in a game, what would happen? If it goes foul, you understand. Well, but it didn't go foul. I go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's like Robles stealing home with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Exactly. To say he's 100%.
I'll have you know that was the only time Robles got thrown out on a stolen base attempt last year.
Oh, what? Really?
Crazy? Yeah. That's a crazy stat, isn't it?
Yeah. What did you make of Turner's? Is that what you thought Justin Turner was going to get in free agency?
What did he get? 4?
No, they didn't get more than that. I think he got 6.
Yeah. He was asking for that much, so yeah. I thought so. I think that's
$6 million bucks.
I think that's one of the reasons why Mariners didn't sign him, is because they weren't going to go that much.
Hey, how do you think Dan Wilson? A couple more things. Dan Wilson, year 2. How do you think it's 21-13 last year? Where do you think he gets even better at maybe in year 2? And now that he's got kind of really year 1 for him, now that he's got his feet wet.
I don't know that he's going to run a game all that differently, from a reliever standpoint and stuff like that. It so much is planned out pregame, like with numbers and data, and they have the numbers. He may gut feel it more, but like that's what people don't get is like Scott was a gut feel guy more than people thought. And I think the one thing with Dan is like maybe the playing time for starters or who's going good might stay. He might be resistant to platoon every once in a while more, maybe, but like I think Dan and Scott both have the same philosophy of letting the players be themselves, trusting the players, and kind of going from that regard. So I don't know that there's going to be a significant difference. I guess probably less meetings and that kind of stuff. We're not seeing like they don't have the 3-point shooting contest and some of that stuff. Maybe it's a little more old school, but at the same time, they're out there kind of doing some fun stuff too. I mean, but the other day I posted a video of Tony Arnrich throwing the exercise ball at catchers while they're trying.
Yeah, that was a great drill.
And like people are like sitting there talking like, oh, that's stupid. We did that in college, except for my coach threw a tackling dummy at me while I was doing it. And he didn't tell me the first time it was happening. I'm sitting there and they're hitting fungos from the outfield. I'm going to catch it, and all of a sudden something just whacks me upside the head, and I go down. And I look, and it's one of those shell tackling dummies.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great drill.
Because there's stuff going on, and it doesn't allow you to focus. And I mean, and it's like this is kind of boring down here, and there's a lot of down. You got to make it fun for these guys sometimes. They're still kids at heart, and you're playing a game, so you got to make it competitive. Because I think another thing is, and that's one thing. I think the biggest thing with Dan is and I know Scott preached it, but I think Dan will be, there might be more consequences from getting away from it, is preaching the idea of team success over individual success. And so in situational hitting, if you're up there and it looks like you're just trying to hit a tank, and when all you're supposed to do is move the runner over by hitting a ground ball to the right side of the field, or, you're up there and you have a poor plan or a poor attack, with runner on third, less than 2 outs, and you punch out, I think you'll see repercussions. It might not happen right away, but you do that enough, like he may say, look, you know what? We're going to go with somebody else who's going to help us win the game more. And I think that's the one thing we've heard a lot of that from the players as well. Is just like, look, we missed it by 1 game, and we left a lot of games out on the field last year. So we need to do something different mentally to know that it's not acceptable to fail and have a bad process and failure. And I mean, some of that may just be the maturity of this team when these guys getting older, but the recognition of, and I think Dan, even last year, Dan wouldn't say anything about the incident with Randy Rosarena, and I can't remember when he got hit, staring guys down and all that stuff.
Right.
But I watched him go up to Randy and kind of just say, we don't do that. You're putting your teammates in a bad spot. There's better ways to handle that, and I think, he's not going to come out and openly rip players just like Scott, but I do think he isn't afraid to there's a point where you can't be yourself, and you have to be, a little bit more rigid to helping the team win. And I think, he has that cachet. And so I do think that's the other thing too. He's not going to impress upon the hitters, and his hitting coaches aren't going to impress upon the hitters, the pull side homers and everything else. And I don't honestly think he's going to be that hypercritical or that analytic of what hitters are doing or not doing. He's going to stay in generalities, because I don't think sometimes that the hitters like that would Service or some of these coaches would come out and talk about, well, he needs to do this more, he needs to do that more. He certainly don't think he's going to make it public all the time. He might make it private, or he might tell us, off the record, hey, he needs to do this more. I didn't say that, but this is what he needs to do. I think that's going to be something different.
Every year there's an award that we like to hand out every single year. It's not the best in shape. It is who is having visa troubles this year. Every year there is someone that has visa troubles, and I always laugh because it's this doesn't sneak up on anyone. It's you report at the same time every year, but every year someone's late to camp because of visa issues. This year's 2025 winner of I'm late to camp because of visa issues is
Donovan Solano.
Donovan Solano, not there yet. He's got visa issues. When do they expect him back?
Well, I think it's because they're putting tariffs on Colombia, and so he's not allowed to get in. I mean, like, honestly, given the political climate over there
Maybe
right
he
now,
can't come in. Maybe he doesn't want to come in.
They're lucky anybody gets in on a visa. I mean, hell, Matt Brash is from Canada. That's like our new enemy. I mean,
we hate Canada now. We hate Canada. You got to ask Brash about that. Like, hey, Brash, when they play the national anthem at opening day, you gonna boo it?
Yeah, hey, Brash, you can only get 25% of your salary. Or you only get. It's like I can see it now. They're like,
so good.
Dan Wilson's like, hey, we need the right-hander. Brass is like, no, 25% extra.
It's out.
I just want to know if this is going to affect my Crown Royal prices.
Probably, yeah.
Because it's hard to tell down here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Because there's no booze tax down here. Yeah. You know what a bottle of Crown Royal is at the store? $20. A fifth of Tito's is $11.
That's just another reason to move to the desert.
Yeah.
Another reason to move to the desert.
But no, he'll be. I think he's going to be here Friday.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, he's 37. He knows what he needs to do. To me,
I just laugh. There's always someone that's got visa issues every year.
Oh yeah. No, it's been pretty cool being down here. Like I said, it's and the echo chamber of the unsilent minority that is Twitter. Like, you get down here and you watch Julio interact with the kids and parents and kids and freaking out. I'm like, again, like, these kids are down here and they're excited. They're all wearing the jerseys, and these are the reasons why they still draw when they're not good. It's because kids love. And I do think, when you're here and you have a young star like Julio or even Cal, and Cal's over there, somebody's got a big dumper sign, he's taking pictures, and all these guys, that's why kids and people come back. It's because they have good kids, they have good players that are representative of the team and stuff. I'm like, people still want to go. They still like the team. They can hate. That's what I try and tell people.
You can like the team and don't like the ownership.
I like the Montana Grizzlies. I don't necessarily love our head coach in football at times.
Yeah,
or often.
That's what makes you being a sports fan. I'll tell you this. I don't like blind loyalty. Yeah. I don't. I just think it drives me nuts. Like, oh, you can't be critical of the team, or you're a hater. You're not a fan. No. I can be a fan of the team because I like the name on the front. I can be critical of anything else because I'm a fan of the team. So I think fans can be excited for the season. I think fans can be excited for the players that are on the team, but at the same time, just be immensely frustrated with the lack of resources that this ownership has given them.
Well, it's like you're watching this stuff, but so we're watching bullpens, and I know it's bullpens, but you watch what these guys do and the work, and you listen to how Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert talk, and then you watch and you see Brash is throwing, and the idea Gregory Santos is throwing, and you see Spire, and all of a sudden you're kind of, okay, what they get 140 or 149 starts from their starters last year. And it was the most in baseball. Their starters pitched the most innings, but get 149 from their core group of 5. I think it's more than their team or whatever. Let's say they get conservatively 140 starts from those 5 guys. I mean, that's probably still good enough for them to win 82 to 83 games and 140 with no offense, minimal offense. If the offense is, and you look at it now, both the rotation is good. If they get 100, let's say they get 140 starts, but the bullpen is better. You have a healthy Brash after May 1st. You have Santos for most of the season. You have a healthy Gabe Spire, and your offense is I'm not even saying it's got to be the last 6 weeks, but it's just something better than it was for the first 5 months of the season or 4 months of the season. Then it's then you're looking at 85, 86 wins. You can play it out where this team is going to be, a contender for a postseason spot. But what they've done is set the floor for success pretty high because of the rotation alone, and because they can they have a rotation. If you have to run with Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans as your number 5 starter for a month, you can withstand that a little bit more. Now, multiple injuries to the rotation, maybe not, but Do I think they're a World Series team? No. Do I think they're like even a division winning team? Not necessarily. I think they.
You just went Richard L. Fain's
I know.
self interview right
I
there.
know. But I mean, like, I think that's why I think I can understand why fans are frustrated. Like, there is a path where being a division winner would be a lot easier if they just went out and got two guys.
They're frustrated because they know how close they are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. They know it.
And honestly, you could say this: they might not be this close again. Luis Castillo's trade clause is up after this year,
which I didn't know until reading your story.
Yeah.
I
if
did
you
not
think
realize
he's going to be back next year, that could be a little dicey.
No chance.
And then, these guys get more expensive, and then the longer these guys log close to 200 innings, the chance of injuries occurs. So, the optimal window for success might be this year, maybe next, and they haven't done anything to push it to another level. Like, I'm not saying they had to be the Dodgers or the Mets, but there were ways that they could have made this team better. Also, where you're not reliant on bounce back from everybody, or you're reliant on Cole Young or somebody taking a step forward, so they're going to start next year. Like I said, I'll sit there and say Cole Young's probably going to be starting second baseman next year, but like, that's a lot of pressure for a kid that was drafted 3 years ago. Like, it's not a normal thing. So, there are ways to make it better. Because also, like, another thing, like, let's say they aren't good to start the season or whatever. Like, are they going to keep Randy? They got him next year. He gets a lot more expensive next year. They can keep him around. If they're not good and, they're going to go to a different direction, do they make a move there? I mean, like, how do you do these things? I mean, that's, in a lot of ways, they do things kind of like the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, think about when the Tampa Bay Rays traded Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Chris Archer. They traded them usually 2 years before their free agency to maximize the return. They could do that with one of these guys. It wouldn't just be Castillo. Like, you just don't know where they're going to be at mid-season or even after the season. Hell, like, you don't really know. Like, one would think if they don't make the postseason, Jerry's probably not back. Now, that could be different because they didn't make it this last year. I thought that would be the case. But, like, a lot is up in the air about the direction of this organization.
100%.
Going with this season and how the outcome of it all.
Yeah,
I think
it's going to be huge.
Yeah,
because if it fails again, then I don't know if you could just I don't know how you sell one more time just running it all back if it once again they fail to make the playoffs. All right, enjoy the sunshine. We'll read all of your work. I can't wait to see the next group of videos that you have posted of guys just throwing bullpens and live BPs. I love it all. Keep doing it. I want an interview with Brash about booing the national anthem. You get that in there. I want a Perry Hill yoga story there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a gift that keeps on giving. You should be lucky that he's ours covering your favorite baseball team, and he's here every single week. And he's all brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941. They have been family owned and operated for 40 years from the Frederick family, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Check them out at chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation. Experience the best in local fun.
How have you not brought your kid down here?
I don't know.
I guess maybe when you quit your job on principle and have to piece together a media company, you have to ask permission from the CEO to come down.
Well, I do have, it's funny because she does the finances, so any expenses I have to approve from her.
Can't you just write it off though, like for business expense?
I'll be honest with you, that is one perk. I do write a lot off.
I mean,
hey, real quick. Hey, we're having drinks. Yeah, you want to talk real quick? Business. We just got to do it for 1 minute. Okay, we did. Okay, now
see, like that's what I'm telling you. You got to come down here. I mean, like
I know I got to get down there.
I mean, you could drive that van down here. That might be an ordeal, though.
I don't know. She's been limping a little bit lately. I'm not sure. I trust her. I trust her for more than 100 miles. I'm not sure.
But yeah, like it's. I'll say this about it. It's a kid's dream down here.
I know.
For a kid, it's a dream because they're right there, and like honestly. My stepson and granted, like I got a little bit better access.
We should have done it this weekend. We should have done it.
With my stepson, I got a little bit better access, but like I've taken him in and like because he wants to play college baseball, I take him in and watch how these guys work and how seriously they take everything. And a lot changed with his mentality, watching what these guys do and how they hit off the tee and everything else. it's a really cool thing. But like just for the fans standpoint
Yeah.
too, like like you go see these guys up close, and it's pretty cool. And
It's awesome.
In-N-Out Burger and Leo's Island Barbecue, and do some damage to your cholesterol while you're
Yeah,
here.
we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll get down there eventually. I guarantee it. All right. Enjoy yourself, and we'll catch up with you next week. Appreciate it, Ryan.
All right, see ya.
There he is, Ryan Divish. Check it out on YouTube. When you're there, subscribe to the channel. Also, you can always find the audio versions, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, always up at pucksports.com.